Hello, I'm George Lewis. Welcome to the Vortex Sarasota show. Sarasota has been Florida's hidden spiritual mecca for many years. Its transformative atmosphere is embraced by a circular flow of spiritual energy. The power of this vortex saturates all of Sarasota and can be noticed in subtle ways anywhere around town. Adding to this already tremendous force is the 40-acre white sandy beach of Siesta Key, made up of powdered quartz sand. Actually, a study by Harvard University's geology department found that the sand was 99% pure quartz crystal. Now this is truly important, as quartz is a power mineral. It has an energetic ability to amplify subtle energies. Quartz enhances energy by absorbing, storing, amplifying, balancing, focusing, and transmitting. Think of it, our thoughts are a form of energy, and thus quartz enhances our thinking. The application of energy is extremely beneficial to manifesting, healing, meditation, protection, and channeling. It's also beneficial to memory, as storing and retrieving information of all types uses a form of energy. It tends to harmonize and balance Sarasota's environment. Quartz minimizes negativity that's so necessary to spiritual growth, transformation, and wisdom. As it clarifies our thought processes and emotions, it increases inspiration and creativity. It also helps our concentration and retention. Quartz harmonizes as it balances our energies. All of this is helpful in our relationships. We live in a world of positive and negative, and quartz counters the dark side and protects us from negative energy. It's also said to improve mental and physical energy, stamina, and physical strength. I'm going to be bringing you a super lineup of exciting, cutting-edge authors and spiritual leaders from both our local and the international community. You can expect awesome conversations. You won't want to miss an episode, so be sure to put us on your calendar. Good evening. Welcome to the Vortex Sarasota show. I'm your host, George Lewis. I got a terrific guest tonight. One of the things that he takes great pride in is his smile, and it's a very important part of what he does. And he's got a great smile. You're gonna love my guest, Larry Riffkin. Larry is a spiritual life coach. He really specializes in the law of attraction. He's a radio personality, among many other things. We're going to have a great time with Larry. And welcome, Larry. Glad to have you on the show tonight.
It is my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I was glad you were able to find your way down here. Boy, I'm not sure why that's so dark, huh? Your picture is really very dark. I'll take care of that after a minute. One of the things what we're going to do tonight with Larry is actually have Larry do a introductory session with our studio producer, Julie Brooks. And that way you can get an idea really of what this all amounts to as far as the life coach and with the law of attraction and that kind of a thing. Afterwards, I'll come back and we will interview Larry and get some more details. So, Julie, you want to come on over and we'll let you get in, and I'll see if I can't lighten up Larry's picture for some reason or other. You might need to have him lean forward.
Hi, Julie.
Hey, Larry.
How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Good. I look forward to talking to you today and telling you a little bit about what I do.
Okay.
And the process that I use, and find out a little bit about what you're looking for.
All right.
Let me ask you a question, Julie. What
Sure.
brought you to seeking out a life coach right now? What happened?
I think I've always kind of been on the right direction, but it might need a little bit of fine-tuning, maybe to make sure I'm doing it properly.
Fantastic. And Do you find that this fine-tuning that you're looking for is in any particular area of your life? Is it in your career? Is it in your relationships? Is it in your health? Is it in any particular area?
I would say probably all of that.
That's fine. That's great. I am a law of attraction specialist. I'm a law of attraction master life coach, and I work with the law of attraction and vibrational matching system, and I'll explain a little bit more about that to you. But really what I'm interested in is, what do you know about the law of attraction? Now, have you heard of it, or are you familiar with it?
Yes, I've done some reading on it, and I know it's basically ask, believe, and receive. And you have to believe and not doubt, and then just sit back and let it happen. And it's supposed to come to you because you did ask for it.
That is absolutely a part of it. Where did you read it from, and how long have you been exposed to it?
It's probably been about 5 years ago, and I actually forget the authors that I've read, but there's a couple pretty big famous ones, and there's like a set of 3. I think I've read...
Conversations with God is a set of
I have read some of that also.
Don Miguel, the Four Agreements.
Yep, a little bit of his, yeah.
The Secret, which is probably the best, most well-known out there. And really what the law of attraction does is everything really comes down to being energy. And it is, including our thoughts.
Right.
And each of our desires and each of our thoughts creates a specific frequency, an energy frequency of our waves. And to bring it down to its simplest forms, like attracts like.
Right.
Or as Mike Dooley, who started the TUT, and he really narrowed it down very well, thoughts become things. And it's really true. Our subconscious mind and our mind has so much control over our reality.
I believe that.
And getting us to think in positive terms and coming from a consciousness of abundance rather than a consciousness of scarcity puts us in a place where we can set our vibrational frequencies high. The higher our vibrational frequencies are, the more chance that we'll be able to attract our desires into it. And before we do anything, before we have a formal session, what I like to do is I'd like to find out what your thoughts are in 2 different areas.
Okay.
Number 1, what is your intentions, or what do you hope to receive from the life coaching session?
Well, I would say that I want to make sure that I'm on the right direction, that I'm able to move forward career-wise so that it's more financially stable is the biggest thing.
You do realize your boss is in the room, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And let me ask you, what are you looking for, and what are your long-term goals?
Just to be totally independent again, and just being able to do my part, giving back, which I do now, but I want to be able to, have nothing in my way. I want to be able to help people who need the things that I'm able to give, freely, and just to keep thriving and keep growing, keep moving forward.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, and if I hear you correctly, you're looking for a little bit of clarity on your direction.
Definitely.
Of where you're trying to go in your career and in your life.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about your career so far.
Well, I've been very artistic my entire life. I had a 20-year career as a floral designer and graphic design. I've done some office work. I can do Reiki. And right now I'm doing actually the producing here. And I'm going into some plus-size modeling. And just this and that, side jobs, house sitting, pet sitting.
Absolutely. Do you have a written plan of your life? And it doesn't have to even really be written. Do you have a mental plan of your life of where you want to be 6 months from now, a year from now?
Probably not.
Okay. Might be something that we might want to work into during the sessions. In your career in the past, Tell me, and one of the first things that we do is we try to make sure that people are comfortable and that they're coming from a place of well-being and of peace and of happiness and calm. And when we do have this session, and when we do sit down and have a full hour session, I would like you to make sure that you're able to do that, have a space that you're not interrupted in, no pets, no cell phones going off, no kids. I have 3 boys, I know what they're like. Where you're able to sit and actually center yourself and do some breathing. And then I want you to write down on a piece of paper what you're looking for. Let's stick right now with your career.
Okay.
With what you're looking for in your career path and what you really want to have. And how can we manifest that? And how can you manifest that? And how can you match your emotions and your thoughts to your desires? That's what we do with vibrational matching. We try to match our thoughts and our emotions with our own desires. So that's real important to be able to do that. When in the past have you had a job situation that you were extremely happy with?
Well, I would say when I was designing flowers, it was a lot of fun. I got to be artistic. Basically, could make anything I wanted, and I had did custom design work. I worked with interior designers also, and I kept everybody laughing all day long.
Good. I do that a lot too.
Yeah, they really miss me over there, I think. I always just was really good with customers, and my boss used to praise me on my patience because there's so many people that were extremely picky when it came to their home decor, and I would convince them to put their faith in me and just give me a shot, and I'd prove to them, and by the time they left, they were giving me a hug and thanking me, and they were smiling.
Good. That's fantastic. And let me ask you, how long did you do that?
20 years.
20 years. Why did you decide to make a change from that if you were happy doing that?
Part of the reason was I have some arthritis and problems with my hands, and it was getting tougher and tougher to do it. And just kind of with the economy, people stopped buying a lot of that stuff, and so there was cutbacks, and not that I was let go or anything, but I had moved away for a little while. And then when I came back, my position had been filled, and I couldn't go back to that particular job.
Is that something that you would have liked to do? Not necessarily at that same position, at that same company, or that same organization.
Right. Well,
but doing what you had done then.
I did do it at another place, but it was a setup where you don't get to be creative. You pretty much are told, here, do this, and put that flower here, and put this one here, and it just wasn't for me, so.
Well, what I do, and I use a 4-step program, and I'm going to tell you about it. I want to make sure that you feel comfortable with what I'm doing. We always have to come from a place of positive, and that's really the secret in the law of attraction is keeping our thoughts positive.
Right.
Because we all have dominating thoughts or a dominant thought. And I want, in the beginning, is to make sure that we come from always being positive and thinking positive, and starting at a feel-good position where you know what you want to be and you're able to not just see a picture of it, because we can all make a picture in our mind, but what I want you to do is I want you to be in the picture. I don't want you just to see it. I want you to smell the smells that are in there, to hear the sounds that are in there, to feel the emotions that you felt that are in there. I want you to actually to put yourself in there. And then the next step that we'll do really will be to identify your desires. And that's an important step. And a lot of people say, I want to be in a non-abusive relationship, or I don't want a job that doesn't respect me, or that doesn't appreciate me, or that doesn't give me the financial rewards that I confirm, or that I want. The problem with that is that the dominant thought now is that I don't want.
Right.
I don't want, and that's what you're putting out into the universe. I don't want a spouse that does this. I don't want a job that doesn't do this and doesn't do that. So we want to identify what you do want. And there's several different exercises that I'll work with you on to be able to do that. Probably one of the most important is creating a wish list and a vision board. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but I'll walk you through during our session, and be able to identify what it is that you want, because a lot of people know what they don't want.
Right.
But they don't realize what they do want. So we need to, if we're going to manifest the results and the desires that we want, we have to know what we want and what we're doing.
Yeah.
And always, and there are a couple of rules that I use when I'm doing it, mostly for me. And actually, I want to get back to something.
Okay.
And I apologize because I'm going a little bit off. Let me ask you, do you have, what's your belief system? Do you believe in a higher power?
I do. I believe in God. I don't believe in a devil.
You haven't met my middle son. Sorry, Brandon. That's good. And do you talk to him? Do you pray?
I do. I speak to my guides, my angels, to Mother, Father, God.
You speak to your angels. I'm actually also, that's one of the things that I do very in depth, is work with the angels and talk to my angels all the time. And that's important. But when we identify our desires, which is what the step that we're out, we need to create a wish list.
Okay.
And we need to focus on our desires. And you want to be specific, but always be open. It's like if you're looking for a relationship and you want a relationship with Bob and you've seen Bob and you talk and you pray. What I always say is I'm looking for a relationship where I have a connection on all four levels: physical, emotional, spiritual, all the levels that are out there, and that we connect and we're able to communicate for the greater good and for my best good, and be open to this or better. Always ask the universe for this or better.
Okay.
Never pin yourself into, this job or this car, even if it's really nice outside. Or this. Or you want to open yourself up, because if you say, I want a job that pays me $40,000, say, this is what I'm looking for, this or better in fine time.
Yeah, when I go big.
And that way, when somebody comes to you and you're not putting out there $40,000, and they come with a job that offers you $55,000, you're able to do that. But we're able to do this by being specific on a wish list, and being open. Okay. One of the things after I do a wish list is I always like to surround it with sacred energy. And that sacred energy could be anything that you feel comfortable with. If it's praying to God, that's great. If it's meditating, if it's yoga, I light candles, I talk to the universe. But we put a little bit of prayer around it, and we ask. And always, through everything, and this is my opinion, but I think life is meant to be happy. That's what we're here for, is to be happy and enjoy life. And always be playful, and be playful and be lighthearted. And identify your desires by putting together this wish list. So first we're going to start by putting you in a position where you're coming from a place of feel-good moments. And then we're going to identify your desires. And the next step we're going to do after that, if this is okay with you and if you're comfortable with this. Are you comfortable with what I've said so far?
Yes, definitely.
The next step we're going to do, and the next step in my process, is activating our intentions.
Okay.
And now we know what our desires are. And now we want to activate them. And now we want to make them real. And how do we do that? We do that by writing them down, writing the intentions down. And we have to do that in believable terms. I want to be a gazillionaire. That's,
How much
that's
is
not
it?
believable terms. I've been working on that one for a long time. Well, I'm kidding. But you want to write it down in believable terms. But more than just believable terms, you want to use words that create emotion.
Strong words.
Strong emotion, because once the words are out there and you attach the emotion to them, your vibrational frequency is much higher. You're coming from a place of a higher vibrational frequency. And it really works. Always create positive imagery on your vision board. Always put things that you want that are positive and good things. Again, reflect on your desires.
Okay.
Maybe look back at past situations and say, not because you want to be a prisoner to that, because our past is our past,
Right.
and we let it go. But part of being an optimist, which I believe I am, is that I know every situation, there's a lesson to be learned in it.
Yes, I agree.
And so they're all gifts.
Right.
No matter, I've never
I agree,
been
totally.
a victim.
Right.
They're all gifts. No matter what happened to me in life, there's something I can glean from that and something that I can learn from that. And that takes me a little bit further on my path. And then I also sit and reflect on what I want. And again, I picture it in my mind. I put myself into the picture and I feel it. And I do this also with my deep breathing exercises at this point. I sit there and I'll do this with you in our session and show you how to relax your mind, center yourself through deep breathing. Actually, just a couple of doors down from here 2 weeks ago, I went and met a Tibetan monk and listened to his lectures, and what he called it was winged energy. And I liked that term. But it's because we don't really breathe correctly.
No.
And
Very
it's
shallow.
true. But if we breathe deeply and relax ourselves, that invigorates our whole body. It goes through everywhere. And we do that. And always, again, even in this stage, be playful, be lighthearted, be open, be joyous. I mean, that's what life's all about. And then the last step, and this is the most important step, is we release the outcome to the universe. This strengthens our belief that we can have, be, do whatever we want. We set the intention that I will have a strong belief that my emotions and my thoughts match my desires. Before you can release your intentions and release the outcome to the universe, you can't put your life on hold. A lot of people say to me, Larry, my life's going to be perfect as soon as I get that new job. As soon as I marry the woman that I'm going to marry. As soon as, this happens or this happens or this happens. Well, you're putting your future on hold until you can't do that.
Right.
You need to live in the moment. And don't put your future on hold. And don't put your happiness on hold. And always, when you ask God, when you ask the universe, and when you ask the angels, for my greater good, and for this, we're better. And we're able to do that. Always set an intention to be optimistic and be an allower. And what that means is to release judgment of ourselves and others.
Right.
And let that go, because judgment stems from anger, stems from ego, stems from, you don't need all that. We call that, in what I do, the pocket syndrome. It's the stuff that we keep in our pockets that weighs us down.
Right.
Release that stuff and let it be. Always be compassionate. See the gifts in every moment. There's a gift in every moment. Life is wonderful. The universe is great. And all the good things that happen to us, we appreciate. I'm very big in appreciation.
Okay.
And then the bad things we dwell on and we look at the problems. Well, no, there's a gift and a seed in every one of those. Be able to look at that. Always be open-minded to miracles. Miracles happen every day. Albert Einstein said, you can either view life in one of two ways. everything's a miracle or nothing's a miracle. I wake up every morning, and I'm here 10 years. I live in Paradise, Sarasota, Florida. And I'm still in awe of the fact that I live in Paradise every day. I look out, I see the palm trees, I see Siesta Key, the #1 beach on the planet
Exactly.
Earth.
All that crystal sand.
I live here, but there's always gifts that we can glean. There's always things that we can do. Always be open-minded to miracles, because miracles do happen every single day.
I believe that.
Align yourself with a consciousness of abundance. I have a lot of female clients that come to me and say, all the good men are either married or they're gay or they're dead. That's not coming from a consciousness of abundance, because whatever your desires are, the universe has plenty of it out there.
Right.
Whatever you want. It's all out there. So if you align with yourself from a consciousness of abundance rather than from a consciousness of scarcity or scarcity,
right,
where every man out there is married and there's no good men out there and they all cheat and they all do this, that's what you're going to attract,
right?
Because that's what the vibrational frequency is that you're sending out there. So come from a consciousness of abundance rather than consciousness of scarcity. Always, I always in each one of my steps surround my intentions and what I want out of it with sacred energy, either a little
white
prayer.
Light I use.
White light. I'm a big candle guy. I love it. And I talk to the universe and I talk to my angels several times every day. I sometimes wonder what the people in the cars next to me think of the road. But I do that, and I surround it with sacred energy. And I do, and there was actually there was a test and research done at Duke University. It said when you take a list of intentions and you do whatever sacred energy that you have, whether it's talking to God or the angels or yoga or meditation, when you attach that to your intentions, they're much stronger. And Duke University came out with a study with that. And be lightful and play-hearted. Know that you've asked for this. Know that you now are clear and set on what you want, on your intentions, and on your desires. And then release it to the universe. And once you release it to the universe, you let the universe do the work. You don't have to worry about how. How doesn't matter to you. You just need to focus on the prize, on what you want. The universe will figure out how, and it will conspire to bring it to fruition for you. Be playful and lighthearted in this area also. And once you release it to the universe, you don't need to constantly focus it on it anymore.
Okay.
Once you have asked for something and you know that it's coming, you don't sit and ask for it again.
Right.
You know it's coming, right? And you don't have the faith.
Right.
So now, in our session, and when we sit down, you're going to come to me with a list of intentions for this session, and a list of intentions of what you'd like results in your life, and what direction you would like. And we will sit and go through it, and work on a storyboard and a vision board.
Fabulous.
And we'll do it. Did this resonate with you?
Definitely.
What are your feelings on this?
I have a question, actually. I've heard that at that point you're supposed to act as if it's already done. Is that
absolutely
what you think?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I want to be successful. Well, I'm going to act like I'm successful now.
Already.
I'm not going to put it on hold. I'm going to do the things that a successful person would do. Absolutely, because that increases, again, your thoughts and your emotions, so it will bring that frequency higher, so now it can match the frequency of your desires.
Sky's the limit.
Absolutely. The universe is the limit.
Exactly.
The universe is
and
the
we
limit.
know that's big.
And is this something that you're comfortable with?
Very much, yeah.
Well,
I'm ready to go to work.
I look forward to working with you, and when you come to me, you'll be prepared.
Definitely, yeah. I'll have some notes all ready for you.
Julia, it was my pleasure.
Thank you, Larry. Mine too.
I look forward to watching you progress.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. All right.
Thank you.
That was a nice job, Larry. I appreciate your doing that in front of our audience like that. I'm sure that's going to be most helpful for them. You know, as I was listening, and we're on the same plane. I mean, we're in the same frequency. You know, with Julie, she seemed to know much of what you suggested to her. And here's what I see as the problem or challenge, which I think is exactly what makes your position necessary, is the challenge. Because she got the information, but somehow or other, it's not working the way she would like it to work.
Yes.
Obviously, there's something going on. There's either, you know, she's not holding the thinking correctly, or there are some other kinds of blocks.
There's an imbalance there right now, and the imbalance comes from her vibrational frequency. Her thoughts and her emotions at this point are not matching her desire, so they're out of sync and they're out of balance. That creates a low frequency and a lower vibrational frequency. A lower vibrational frequency won't allow you to move forward. So what I do is try to identify that and increase the frequencies, because you want these two frequencies to match. Your emotions and your thoughts to match your desires. It's much easier said than done. If it was, they wouldn't need people like me.
Absolutely, without question. Well, you know, one of the things that I think is a challenge for most people is science tells us that, and I think it's probably true, at least when I look at my life, some of the things is that by the time we're 6, we've formed most of what we believe about the universe.
That is true.
And so unless we really get some in-depth look at ourselves, we got a 6-year-old running our boat.
And sometimes what it takes is to unlearn what we've learned in the past and what was instilled to us through our parents, through our teachers, our schools, and other figures. Our religious experience, whatever religious experience it was, whatever church or temple or whatever that you go to.
Right.
But sometimes we need to unlearn those and open up our minds to the greater possibilities, because the universe is infinite. And if people can understand that and believe that and grasp that concept, they have hope.
Right.
And once they have hope, they start to have faith. And as that process starts going, it's like a river flowing. If the river doesn't flow, it becomes stagnant. But once it starts flowing, it starts to now match and it starts to come together.
One of the things about the law of attraction, I always thought was kind of humorous. It's like, for some reason or other, when people think they need advice, especially, they usually will go to somebody who has a lot of money. Often go to someone with a lot of money. If for some reason or other we have this built-in idea that if you got a lot of money, you've got the answers to life also. I think that probably connects with the fact that we want money.
Yes, but the question is, why do we want the money? And what is the money going to bring for us, and how is that going to enrich our life? And money, again, it depends on your outlook. But money doesn't bring happiness.
Sure doesn't, no.
It really doesn't, and it doesn't bring peace of mind or well-being. It doesn't hurt. It's nice to have it, not to have any financial concerns, but part of what I've learned through this process and on my path is I ask the universe and I ask the angels for financial abundance. I don't know how it's going to come to me. I don't have a clue how it keeps coming to me, and it does. And you don't pigeonhole yourself into, I want a job that's going to pay me $50,000 so I can have $50,000. That's not how it works.
Right.
It comes to you when you open yourself up to possibilities and you open yourself up to miracles. It comes from all sorts of places. I'll give you a real good example. 18 years ago, I was involved in a company that sold health products.
Herbalife?
Through similar to that. I won't mention the name.
Gotcha.
Similar to that, through an MLM type networking business.
Right.
I was in it for 1 year, and it wasn't for me, and I closed out of it. now 18 years later, and I talk to God, and I talk to the universe, and I talk to my angels, and I say to them, I'm looking, please, financial abundance. I want financial abundance in my life. Last week, in the mail, I get a postcard. I had no idea of this. There's a class action lawsuit against the company, and they went through the records, and I'm entitled to this sum of money that's somewhat substantial.
Uh-huh.
I haven't even heard that company's name in 18 years, and they've never crossed my mind. But I open myself up to the universe, and open myself up to possibilities, and I don't put myself in a corner wherever it comes from, and the universe comes through. The universe never ceases to amaze me.
I tell you, if you don't believe in abundance, all you have to do is drive around Sarasota, Siesta Key, Longbow Key. There is abundance everywhere. You just kind of reach out into the air and take what you need, because that's how it's all happening.
Absolutely.
It all comes out of energy.
And you know what? People have known this since the beginning of time. It might not have been used in the verbiage and the vocabulary that we use now. But Einstein and Newton and all these people, they knew that they were going to work and be a success.
Right. And
it was putting the law of attraction to work.
So do you see that the idea, the formula for goal setting, that some of those principles are at work also when you do the law of attraction? Because I hear you setting intentions. What you're really talking about, that's another name for goal setting.
It is. There's a little bit difference.
Right.
The difference is the emotion that you put behind it. If you set an intention, I want to be a millionaire by November.
Right. No emotion.
No emotion to it. It's not going to become a reality. It's not a vibrational match. But if I say, I would like, I'm ready now for financial abundance, and leave it opened, possibilities and miracles, whatever you want to call it, just happen and come. Also, with what you said, a lot of people sit down and they don't know what they want when they come to me. They know what they don't want.
Right.
They don't want that last boyfriend, that last husband,
and
that
that's
last
just
wife.
What they're going to get again.
Exactly, because that's the dominant thought that they're putting out there in the dominant vibration.
Well, there's another principle I think really powerful in the universe, and that is the universe runs on desire.
Absolutely.
Completely on desire. It doesn't run on no desire, don't work. The cells in my body are charged because of desire by the cells themselves.
Absolutely.
You and I are here together for exactly the same reason. So, in your when you actually have your you call it your new truth, right?
Your new truth.
And that's a modality that you created.
Yes.
In that, what's the difference between, say, the transformational? Is it
transformational?
No, I'm thinking about the psychology that I guess it's transformational psychology that includes the psychic aspect of the.
It is.
So, what's the difference between what you do and transformational psychology?
Transformational psychology and clinical psychology, and actually, that's what my undergrad degree is in.
Is that right?
Yeah, so
okay.
my background is there.
Right.
The difference is, from a clinical standpoint, a psychologist is looking for what happened in your past. What blocks do you have? What is your history? I'm not concerned with that. I'm not a prisoner to my past. My clients aren't prisoners to their past. And what I'm looking to do is I'm not looking to solve a problem. I'm not a problem solver for them.
Right.
I'm not, even a teacher. I'm a guide. I guide them to a place where they can match their vibrational frequency of their emotions and their thoughts with the vibrational frequency of their desire. I'm not worried about what happened in the past. The bag, we all have baggage. We all have the pocket syndrome. I'm not a prisoner. I'm not a prisoner of what happened to me in the past, or what happened to my ancestors, or what happened 1,000 years ago. So if you take it and you look at it that way in a clinical setting, they want to find out what you did in your childhood, what was the cause. I don't look at any of that. I'm worried about, or I'm more concerned with looking at the future and moving forward and creating this vibrational match.
Which really makes a lot of sense, because if you think about karma or cause and effect, most of us have done the cause and effect many, many times for all the stuff, whatever stuff we did, got caught up in or anything. I mean, we paid dearly. You know, it's time to stop paying the price.
Absolutely. You're keeping yourself prisoner. You're not allowing yourself, you're not putting yourself in a place to be able to move forward because you're being held back.
Absolutely. Right.
Let it go.
So, what part, you know, when you look at all this gooey mess that's back there for most of us, we've got it hidden pretty well, you know.
Absolutely.
Put a nice
Walls
jacket on,
and masks.
nice big smile, and all the stuff we can hide all kinds
And
of.
a beard.
Yeah, and a beard. And we can hide a lot of stuff with that. So, what part does forgiveness play in this process?
Forgiveness is extremely important, and I don't know if I'm going to answer it in the direction that you were looking for. In order to move forward on our spiritual path, we need to be able to forgive. But when I say that, yes, I mean forgiving other people, but more importantly, with the people that I deal with, forgiving ourselves.
Absolutely.
That is where people have the biggest stumble, is forgiving ourselves. We can forgive the other people. Okay, you know, they did this and they did this and they did this, but they can't forgive themselves for allowing it to happen, or for being a victim, or for whatever it is. What we need to do in everything, you can't move forward if you don't have self-love. And self-love stems from forgiveness and being in a forgiving state and letting that go. Let it go. And it is a foundational cornerstone of spirituality.
Yeah, absolutely, without question. Forgiveness and love.
Absolutely. That's love is the result that we're looking for. Happiness, love, joy, enjoying life.
And you know, when you say that, I'm convinced that the best thing I can do for me and my own spiritual progress is do everything it takes to bring myself to a place of joy.
Absolutely.
Because when I'm in a place of joy, I'm where I'm supposed to be, and that's exactly what spills over everything around me.
And you're allowing. And one of the good things about allowing, and one of the most important things about allowing, is that we release judgment. That is so important. We don't judge others and we don't judge ourselves. And that's something that I work on all the time. I mean, it's not something that you can just flick a switch on. I wish it was. But it is something that I constantly work on. And I find also another cornerstone of spirituality and of moving forward on your spiritual path.
I want to change directions here a little. Not a lot, but in the same vein. You know, I've been around the planet for a long time, and so I've had a lot of experiences. And I've been into positive thinking in this whole thing since the mid-'60s. You know, the first book I read that I think was a spiritual book, other than scriptures,
Norman Vincent Peale.
Think and Grow Rich. Huh?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. One of the things that he talked about there that really hit me in the forehead, because I was young and vibrant, and was that we could actually take our sexual energy and convert it and use it for, you know, what we wanted to get, where we wanted to go, and for all this direction.
Absolutely. And actually, you're going into even a little bit further of a trail and the path that I'm on, and what you're almost talking about is what's called tantric.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if a lot of people know what I'm talking about, but that's getting to a place where the bodies, the minds, the spirits all merge together.
I've been looking for a good Tantra guest for quite a while. I'd like to, so if you know someone,
I do.
Great, that would be good. You can refer them to me afterwards if you would.
But use the word referral.
Oh, absolutely. Without question. You know, there's one other, I don't know if you want to call it an issue or what, but, and that is, during the course of my life, some of the things that I would never have asked for, in no way possible wanted in my life, was the worst thing that I thought could happen to me turned out to be the best. How do I include that in my intentions?
Sometimes on the way to a destination, we take a detour and end up in a better place. And how?
But I'm not even sure it's a detour.
Ready? I'll tell you exactly how you do that in your intentions. When you set your intentions and you're looking for something and you ask the universe, the angels, God, whoever is your higher power, that you're looking for this, always finish it off with this or something better. For my greatest good and the greatest good of all concerned.
If you've had enough of those nose-bleeding kind of situations, you kind of hesitate at the end of that prayer, but
Absolutely.
but it's essential.
If you do it enough, it becomes rap. It becomes just part of a reflex. And I make sure that I always ask, or for something better, and for the greater good of all concerned.
Right.
Not just mine, because if it's just mine, it's not the greatest good of all concerned. I'm looking for the greatest good of all concerned because I come from a place of integrity. That's important to me. Don Miguel Ruiz, one of my favorite authors, The Four Agreements.
Right.
Be impeccable with your word. That's also a major step in the spiritual path. And integrity is important.
Well, how does service play in all this? Service to others.
I think just about everything I do is I do it for others, and I get my satisfaction and my help and my happiness from helping others. There was somebody who went to one of the gurus and said, I'm feeling despair, what do I do? And the answer was, go out and help others.
Totally.
And once you start focusing not on yourself and helping others, you get answered too. The universe never ceases to amaze me.
It's mind-blowing. Listen, I'm absolutely sure that you've read Richard Bach.
Absolutely.
Jonathan Livingston Seagull,
Absolutely.
Illusions. Well, Richard wrote in Illusions a passage that has been really powerful in my life. And that is, not to paraphrase it, is if you want a life of joy, you want to assure yourself a life of joy, figure out what your biggest problem is, find a solution, and spend the rest of your life sharing it with others.
That is phenomenal advice.
Isn't that powerful?
Yes, absolutely. The first gift from life is to figure out your mission, and the second gift, and this came from that book, is to share it with others.
Absolutely.
Once I identify what your gift is and what my gift is, and I found my gift, now I want to share it with as many people as I can. Those that are willing to listen, those that want to listen.
Well, one of the things I think it has a couple of aspects to it for people in general when they see it. One is positive and the other can be quite negative. And that is people who are really, really wealthy. Oftentimes, that's all that they're thinking about in their mind. What's the negative in your mind with that? Is there a negative to that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a negative in it because they're satisfying one compartment of their soul, of their body, of their being, and they're not feeding the other compartments. I'm looking for complete happiness, complete joy in my career, in my relationships, with my kids, with everybody that I meet. I want to help people on a lot of levels. When you get caught into one thing, money, you become a slave to that one concept and that one idea. And then what happens if, God forbid, there's a stock crash or the economy bottoms up? All that's happened recently, hasn't it?
I heard something about that.
We live in Sarasota, yes. But when you do that, and when that happens, you've now put, I don't like using this term, but all your eggs in that basket, and all of your emotional eggs, and all of your creative eggs, and all of your energy.
Your identity.
Your identity, your energy, everything.
Right.
And now it's gone. Now who are you?
Yeah, that's oftentimes called hitting a bottom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people need to hit a bottom before they can be on a road to enlightenment.
Yeah, it can take that. I was at one point in the mid '70s very wealthy, and I hit in like '79 and '80. We had back-to-back recessions. My name was my company's name, and so I had become my company. When that savings and loan debacle, interest rates went up to 20-21%. I was in the real estate business, buying and selling. Yeah, it was nuts. It was just, and I managed to hit a bottom at that point. And from there, it was a matter of rebuilding.
And then you can recreate yourself.
Absolutely.
And isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, well, then you can really get tuned into what's really important in all this. In my mind, peace of mind and contentment.
And well-being.
They're all right there. Because I can be in a mansion, miserable, and have, or in a shack and have peace of mind, and where's the problem here?
I have a group of people that I like coaching, and I was writing to them. Actually, they like coaching me, and I was writing to them over the holiday weekend, and I asked them, what his plans were and what they were doing. And he got back. He said he was packing up his kids and he's going to the beach. And I said, I live at the beach. And he replied that he was jealous. And I said, you know what? Anywhere I live is paradise. It doesn't matter where I am. Yes, it's nice that I have the background of Sarasota back here.
Sure.
But I could be living in Alaska. I could be living in Des Moines. I could be living in Syracuse. It doesn't matter because it's within us. Our happiness is within us. I'm a happy person.
What I heard you talking about with Julie and some of the things you went through, and I'm sure this is a big part of your process, is viewpoint.
Yes.
Everything is attached to viewpoint. All of this
Absolutely.
stuff. From my experience, what I believe and how I act establishes my viewpoint, which establishes my experience.
And it also establishes your character.
Everything about me.
Yes.
Everything about me. And what I'm going to attract.
Yes.
Or what I'm going to repel.
And when people come to me, the problem is that those aren't identified. They don't know. And they come to me and they're looking for clarity. So we take it down. And a lot of people, as I said, when we get to that point, they know what they don't want. So I say, fine, if we're going to put together a wish list, let's put that aside for a second. And this is an exercise I use often. Tell me what you don't want. Take a piece of scrap paper because we're going to throw it away as soon as we're done.
Right.
And write down what's wrong in your life and what you don't want and what has gone not the way that you wanted to. And then I'll take them bullet point by bullet point by bullet point and say to them, what's the opposite of that? And what is the emotion that you feel from the opposite of that? Good. Now I can get them to create a wish list because now I can get them to identify not what they don't want, but what they do.
What they do want. You're an intuitive.
Yes.
And I also am an intuitive, and a big part of, and I work with a lot of people, and that intuition plays a huge role in it, which means, in my mind, I have to be, what I believe in all of that is wonderful, but the real stuff comes through that intuition.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the words that come out of my mouth now, I'm thinking, who just, I've never said that before in my life. How did that happen?
Yes.
How do you help people to get to that place?
I do a little bit, and I think we come to it naturally as we allow and as we become allowers. I know I look for signs from the universe and from the angels, and it gets to a point where, and I have 3 friends that think that it's hilarious. I can't look at a clock unless it's 11:11, 2:22, 4:44, and these are all signs. And then I'll see 4:44 on the clock, and I'll be driving around. I'll look at the license plate,
It pops right up.
and the license plate is there again. Once we let go of a lot of our baggage, once we identify what we want, know that we're on a path, And we do some relaxation, some deep breathing, some self-hypnosis. We start to become allowed. I think, and this could just be me, but I think everybody has it. I think some of us are tuned into it a little bit better than others. Because, think about it, it's energy. It's energy that comes to us, whether it comes to us through intuition, through a gut feeling that we have in our stomach, right? A voice that I hear in my head. It's coming to us because we're in a place where we can allow it right now. And those intuitions that we get are an internal guidance system for us.
Huge.
And follow them, they're usually right.
Yeah. Well, you know, the big problem, I think, or a big challenge for most people is most people don't want to listen. They want to tell you everything that they know to establish their image, who they are. And I can't, unless I'm listening, intuition is not available to me.
That is absolutely true. And with those people, you're not listening to the words, you're listening in between the words. Right. I want to listen to their voice inflection. I want to see how they're sitting when they're saying it. I want to see what their eyes are doing when they're doing it. Because the words that come out of their mouth are almost inconsequential.
They don't even match up?
No, they don't. And that's just garbage or gibberish that's thrown into the cloud. Get that out of the way, and then I can see and I can feel what I'm trying to get. And again, the biggest problem is that most people don't know what they want.
Right. Do you get most of your clients from referrals?
I do. I get the vast majority of my clients come through referrals. I also am very big in social media, Facebook, and everybody can find me on Larry Riffkin on Facebook, and I also have Your New Truth on Facebook, through Twitter, through LinkedIn. It's 2012. You know, it's not 1970 yet. There's technology out there. We have to not be afraid of these things, but embrace them for our greatest good and the greatest good of all concerned. And yeah, those work for me. A lot of people also happen to know me. I've been very active in Sarasota for the past 10 years. I was extremely active in the corporate world and the religious world around here for years. So I've been blessed that a lot of people like me. My Keep Smiling tagline, which I've used my whole life, I took from my father, was his tagline. Matter of fact, it's even on his stone. But it's the way of life for us.
I understand. Totally understand.
And you get it. And, it gets you out of your smile.
We got a couple of minutes left. Give us your website, and so people can contact you. I'm sure you're going to attract people from this interview.
Thank you. My website is www.yournewtruth.com. YOURNEWTRUTH.com. I can also be reached on my phone. My phone number is 941-315-8250. And I can be reached through email also, which is Larry at Your New Truth. Use my creative talents for that one.
Absolutely. Listener, you've been a great guest. I have enjoyed it immensely. I'm looking forward to developing the relationship.
I do too.
We'll have to talk further in the future. I'm really quite surprised we haven't met.
So am I.
Because I've been in this thing for 25 years here locally, and I'm sure we've been at the same place at the same time.
When I was told your name, I knew it, but I knew that we had not physically met. And you know what? For the universe, divine timing.
Supposed to happen when it happens.
Absolutely. And today was the day.
Listen, we're out of time, so we're going to sign off. Get a hold of Larry. If you're not getting what you want, get a hold of Larry. Believe me, having somebody to help you with these things, there's no shame in that. It can take you to places where you think you can't get to without even knowing you think you can't get there. So I got a great guest lined up next week. Be sure and come back, same time, same place. And in the meantime, don't forget to accentuate the positive and have a fantastic week.